Good morning, everyone. All right, now I'm going to run you through some diagnostic work I did yesterday on a Mitsubishi Triton that got towed in. Now, this is a 2008 Triton diesel. I've done the job already, car's done and dusted, so that's why I'm running through like this. I didn't have a chance to film it at the time. As you can see, 2008 Mitsubishi Triton. This vehicle come in with crank no start situation. I've been to another shop, they'd check timing, etc. And first thing I noticed on fault report, obviously, is a P0628 suction control valve low flow. So that was one of the first things. Now, when cranking this over with a good battery in, it did have a very weird cranking cadence. You can hear when something's not right mechanically or compression-wise. So that was the first thing that I wanted to check before I went too far into this. Obviously, just to rule out whether the motor's gone, etc. So from here, this is what we found on our relative compression test. Now, it's not ideal, but it's not catastrophic either. As you can see, we have peak compression across the top and it slowly drops down to this last cylinder here. So that's our lowest compression point there. Now that in of itself isn't necessarily enough to condemn a gone engine or a failed engine. It could probably still be repaired, rebuilt. And we have advised the customer of this and given him reports of this to look into, because there is other things to fix first. On top of that, intake pull on that cylinder, so on that low cylinder, is much lower as well. So this is the pressure pulse sensor in the inlet. So we do definitely have a compression issue on one cylinder. So that's one thing to take note of. Now onto the suction control valve fault. What I'll show here is first thing we checked is our wiring. Now this is our diagram up here. Very basic circuit, as you can see. So pin B17 and B37 at the engine computer. We've got a power feed and a ground. So the ECU feeds 12 volts to the suction valve and then controls the ground side of the suction valve. So straight away, obviously we can pull the suction control valve off, check it individually, but we wanted to do wiring checks first. This come in because the shop believed that it had an ECU issue. So first thing I checked was the actual 12 volt and ground control. So as you can see, we've got a good 12 volt feed. ECU is clipping it down to ground, so we've got a good pulse width modulated control. And just to be sure, I also ohm and load tested both those wires. So both of them checked out at around half an ohm max, and they both carried a good load test with a H7 bulb. So straight away, we know that that ECU has a good power feed. The ECU is feeding the suction valve, it's grounding it, and the wires between the ECU and the suction control valve are definitely capable of carrying current. So from there, this is going to require a suction control valve. It does also show no fuel pressure on live data. May well have a pump issue, but to start with, it's going to need a suction valve, and the engine issues are going to need to get looked into, because that difference in compression, it will still run, but that difference in compression isn't ideal. Same with the difference in intake vacuum. I can see it's all been apart before. It's a pretty rough car, so someone's had the engine out, stripped down, whatever. We don't know the story with it, so that will also need to be looked at. But that's essentially how you can quickly and relatively efficiently diagnose a no start issue with a couple of separate issues. We've got, an engine issue that we can advise the customer of, and we've got a fuel pressure issue with a suction control valve fault. Wiring's all checked out. I can be 100% of that ECU and that wiring for that circuit, and the customer can go from there.